Did you read the story today?
For $2, the crew room. These are
Chips, noodles, and Stella Artois.
and I wonder if I can't lose weight. And then I shouldn't eat these because advertised on ABC in New Orleans at Kimmel last night. And then, second at the front desk. And I grabbed this bag. And here's some more nutritions.
Eileen, as a flight attendant, you live in a world of luxury.
I do. But again, I sometimes, get some overnights like in Pittsburgh. I go down to the Strip and like some seafood at some Italian restaurant. I don't know. Anyway, so. Oh, hi, Elaine.
Hi there. You caught me bawling my eyes out.
Why are you bawling your eyes out?
Because I was watching this really sad episode of Law and Order SVU. One that it's from season 17, Transgender Bridge.
Yeah, I know the episode.
Oh my God.
See, I have been super, super, super fucking depressed. And so when I get super, 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 super fucking depressed, I restream old episodes of the original Law and Order. And so I've been doing that constantly. And so I've gotten through all of season 1 to 4, which that's the season. The first 4 seasons are Michael Moriarty as the DA.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until season 4 season 3 was when Jerry Orbach became a regular on the show. And so I love that show. But when I get really I'm like the bottom of the bucket, zero depressed, and here's the psychology of it. You watch shit that when you get really sad and depressed, because it's shit that you've watched before. And it doesn't require you to mentally process what you're watching.
Well, it had been a long time since I'd seen this particular episode, and I'd forgotten the kid dies. And it was just...
You know that Mariska Hargitay, like back when I was a heterosexual person, Mariska Hargitay was he was in my top 5 list, but probably because I wanted to be Mariska Hargitay more than I just wanted to be with her.
Wait, who put in one of the signal chats they wanted to be Molly Ringwald or something?
I did. Yeah.
There's many channels and Substack notes and oh my God, my glasses are fogging up. All my hot air and this humidity. St. Louis is 81% humidity.
Where are you?
St. Louis.
Wow. Hello. Waving at you from Kansas.
I know. Hi. I know Lisa's nearby. Elaine, I know you're somewhere.
I'm in Kansas City. Lisa's
they're all in
than I am.
On the other side of the state. Yeah.
Yeah. So
1% humidity though.
So did everybody watch Kimmel last night?
Yes, I did.
They didn't air it on the ABC station in New Orleans last night. They showed rerun entertainment tonight because Next Star, which is like Sinclair, refused to show it. So then I watched it from your link in your
I didn't watch it when it actually was airing because I was already in bed.
Yeah, I like Next Star and Sinclair. Hey, Rick. Next Star and Sinclair have been like viscerally in denial about the fact that the Kimmel show, they're not gonna run the Kimmel show.
But I was glad I was in a different part of the country to actually bear witness to that fact that they did not play it.
Yeah.
Well, I watched it on YouTube about 1:00 in the morning because I woke up and I was awake for yes, you hear Kitty, Craig. I was awake until 3:30.
We'll drag you and Rick on here in a second to talk through we'll talk through the thing.
But yeah, I liked it. I liked that I liked that Jimmy Kimmel was, just kind of impish. I liked that, you know.
Well, his opener where he was like, "Hold on, I got to get this." Disney asked me to read this, and he opened it up and said, "To reconnect your Disney Plus and Hulu Plus account, follow the link on your device or TV." He said,
Uh-huh.
I started laughing, and I needed it because I was in a really bad place earlier today. Really, really fucking bad place earlier today, and so,
Astrid's getting a new pussy.
who's getting a new pussy?
Astrid is.
Oh,
Aw.
look, I
Well,
don't have one yet. Astrid, can you give me the pussy you're gonna get?
you'd have to get it away from her son. And
Oh God.
I understand he's rather attached to it. That's why
That means
she's.
he's gonna beat up the pussy before I get a hold of it, and I'm not sure if I want damaged pussy.
I could
Eh,
wrap the two feral pussies I saw when we were in the neighborhood canvas. We met at a park where one of the grade schools will benefit if we pass this bond and override. And as we were getting to our car, like, because they fed us this not Chandler, it was the union for the teachers, and it's the education association, but uh, they treated canvas this tacos. And then when we got back to the car, there were these two black cats under the picnic table, and I was like, "Oh no!" And my friend's like, "Oh, they have each other." And the feral. I mean, they were out.
That just means the pussy's wild.
They were
And
wild.
do you
Yeah.
really want to have a wild pussy? I would think that you would want to have wild pussy.
Astrid, I had dinner with my ex tonight. We went to 54th Street Grill and split an order of nachos. And she was very impressed with your gathering on Saturday night. I think she's wanting to know if you're doing something for solstice.
Who, me?
No, Astrid.
Oh,
We were at Astrid's house on Saturday night for the autumn equinox thing.
yeah. I cooked food for the equinox. Just near home or whatever, but still. The mother demands that we do that. All right. Well, I just a couple of news bits before I bring the other two on. I just wanted to tell you. So, uh, do either of you read Oceana Teppenfart?
I saw that she was not going to be on Substack.
Yeah. So, as Oceana Teppenfart announced today, she's leaving Substack.
Mhm.
I have it on strict assurance that there are two major Substack accounts who have readers over in a 6-digit number marker. And I won't say who it is, but these are people that I have conversations with because of what's coming down the pipe. Rick, I'll tell you when I bring you in. But Oceana is leaving. There are two large Substack accounts who are in discussions to leave.
It's not Jeff Tiedrick, is it?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay.
I have been.
There are people I will follow off of Substack, but
So
I'm already on too many platforms as it is. Christ.
look, I agree, which is why I've coded up. I've spent time writing about 12,000 lines of Python to hybridize doing Substack on another platform at the same time so that you can cross the two of them together, which I'll do for a year or 6 months or whatever, but then that's it. But yeah, there's some changes coming down the pipe, the Substack pipe. The big one is they're going to start taking more than 10% for paid subscribers. Right now, Stripe takes 3% off of all of your subs, and then Substack takes 10%. That percentage is going to increase the amount of money Substack takes, and it could likely be upwards of 20%.
Well,
which would really dent into people trying to make money or whatever. But anyway, but yeah. So I know that there are active discussions with 15 publications that are considering Ghost and ConvertKit and Beehive and a handful of other uh, solutions. Sweaty Spice, Jeff Anderson, he's already migrated to Ghost.
Yeah, I still read his stuff.
Yeah, and then the Bugbear Dispatch, she's already migrated to Ghost. So there's
I don't know.
But anyway, so we're going to talk about Trump being a bully, and I promised Rick and Lisa to have that conversation. So I'm going to drop you both. Oh, Elaine, you're my favorite. I love you so much. I did my hair just for you, Elaine.
You fucking well better. Jesus. Bye-bye.
No, Astrid, don't stuff your face with Taco Bell. That stuff's
That one better than the red one.
yeah, that stuff's bad for you. All right, so here we go. Let me find Lisa and let me find Rick. There we go. We'll see how this works. I was sure that you would have known that. I was sure that you would have known that.
Hey guys, hold on a second. I gotta move my phone.
Where the fuck is your partner?
I don't know. She's there.
Aren't you her keeper?
Yeah, right.
Hey, I'm in my evening lighting.
So I'll just get the business out of the way. Yeah, there's a larger evacuation from the platform going on, and the reason for it, there's 4 reasons that people are leaving. One is the live thing. So lives have been confined to this little column. So if you're not in the top 2 or 3 of subscribers, that people won't find you unless your followers follow their notifications.
Right.
And they have no intention of changing that, by the way.
Yeah, which is kind of self-destructively stupid, but
Right.
yeah.
So, and then the other thing is that, the percentage. So if
Right.
you're like me, if you're trying to make money while you're doing this, Substack is going to take a larger cut.
Yeah, when you said 20%, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah,
That would take very little of what I do make and put one very big, large fucking dent in it, to be blunt. So that's
that's what it is they took the $100 million in funding, but it isn't enough to support the infrastructure. On top of the fact that a larger body of the outside infrastructure can't handle the load, and then on top of that, they're taking DDoSs. They were DDoSed like 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah, I think I actually got caught in the middle of that.
Yeah.
That I really do. Something really fucking weird happened.
External latency affecting that event, and
I can tell
that.
I was on some edge server coming in, and it was you can tell. You've been at this lineup, when the denial of service attack happens. It's like that. The feeling when you're inside the perimeter of the core network is one thing, but when you're out on an edge server, in other words, 1 or 2 hops out, and it just feels different. I don't know how to explain it. It's like one of those speech, sixth sense shit. So yeah, and I'm so that there's this what is it? Help me out, Wendy. It's this RH. The protocol, right? So I was looking at
RTMP, real time.
RTMP. Thank you.
It's real time media protocol. They're using RTMP, and what Substack does not do, and this is a problem. So when you stream on YouTube, YouTube load balances you between the primary and the backup. So if their primary RTMP server gets overloaded, they just send everybody to the backup, and that's seamless to you. You don't ever experience any like hiccup or whatever. But in Substack's case, they're running multiple servers behind one LB load balancer, and that's the primary address. So as a hacker, if you're going to DDoS that, I just have to hit the
button. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Right. You just go into that one spot. So yeah, I've had that. I'm really nervous right now about, and I'll just say this, like, stream of consciousness, which is very nervous about the fact that shit's getting to, we're doing atomic division, atom splitting again, where we take a group of people that were fairly cohesive in one platform, and now you're going to have exits, and then you're going to have out of that, where the fuck did they go? And then you're going to have out of that, everybody loses because now you don't know where to find shit, or you're going and you're like an octopus. You're like trying to figure out everywhere, right? And it's just it's so infuriating to me that for as much as they do take from as many small places like this, and then my other beef with it, like I to tie it back to the Kimmel shit, which we didn't. I don't know if you talked about it at all, but the thing with
we're about to.
right. So I'll lead in with this particular thought, which is I don't give a shit about Kimmel. I love him and everything as a comedian, but the really big deal I've been pushing, and I feel in my heart, in my mind, in my soul, that it is important that it's the little guys behind Kimmel, the hundreds and thousands of little people like me, like you, like Lisa, like every single one of these people who don't have, a big following or a giant platform, and all of a sudden we're sitting here. First of all, we're looking up to the sky, going, where is that goddamn bone crushing lawsuit going to come from? If Trump is tweeting out this shit that he's like, oh, we're gonna try out. I just flipped over to the Bulwark, and I was listening to what's her name, Sarah?
Oh, Sarah Longwell.
Tim and Sarah, they were going at it, right, about the whole thing with Kimmel, and the same exact that Trump basically has this, pardon my language, is hard on for this particular ABC thing that he's now going to test it with civil suits. He's going to test it with all sorts of they're going to start to yank FCC licenses. Is that what's next? And then is it more importantly to me immediately is the, oh my gosh, are you guys going to have, basically send your army of little minions out there to find the people like me, like you, like everybody, and start just suing us into oblivion? Because I'll tell you, my checking account won't take it. I mean,
So here's the problem with that. This is why this makes Substack a problem, and this is what you have to be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Substack becomes a target for that because you're not paying money.
Hmm.
So in Ghost's case, in Beehive's case, in ConvertKit's case, in all that you're buying a product.
Right. Okay.
So, and even in Ghost's case, you can self-host your instances somewhere if you're so inclined.
Right.
I was comfortable with just having a Beehive instance that's paid for, and I've already talked to. I have a cozy relationship with their developers,
right?
Because their developers are like, well, we want to do the chat thing, and I'm like, oh, I've already coded Python for a bunch of that, and they're like, really? Can you? Yeah, sure, of course, or whatever. But regardless, Substack becomes a target for that, and the reason for that is you're not paying for it.
Yeah,
you're getting paid for it, but you're not paying for it, and so because you're not paying for it, that makes it a target for somebody like that, which goes right into the bully thing that we were going to talk about tonight.
Right.
So this is the first time that I'm, well, not the first time, but I've been hearing rumblings about this happening with Substack and, the destabilization of the lives and all of that. And I wasn't familiar with Ghost. Is Ghost like Beehive? Is it that type of a platform too?
Yeah. So basically, like MailerLite, ConvertKit, Ghost, and Beehive are just newsletter. Newsletter platforms where they kind of blend. So in Ghost's case, like its big strength is you can self-host it. You can put it on a server somewhere and host it yourself, and you can do whatever the fuck you want to do to it. In Beehive's case, they took the approach of Substack, and so there's internalized boosting and recommendation mechanisms against the publications that own the product and get access to that. And then the other thing that Beehive did was they allow for ad network. So like next week or whatever, I've been approved for like 7 different ads for all 10 of the publications that I'm bringing over. And so those people can independently connect their Stripe accounts to their publication and then use the ad network to make money.
Hmm. Well, yeah, and I'll tell you the other thing I noticed, or I just zooming out really far from this thing. I look at the David Pakman show. I look at Brian Tyler Cohen. I look at all these guys, and then here's a number that just blew my mind. I came across this last winter sitting in this exact chair in this exact room, and I was following different things for different reasons, but. At one point, you guys may or may not know I'm into woodworking as a hobby, right? So I started watching, and holy fucking shit! If you have not, just go onto YouTube and put in type in the search bar, search specialized woodworking, okay, and watch it come up, and then just yank on one of those channels, and you will see these guys have 9, 10, 11 million subscribers.
Whoa.
Holy shit! They have, and they're not. And then you look at Pac-Man, and he's small potatoes compared to the guys who are gluing together furniture, for fuck's sake. Why is that? And I sit around and I have racked my brain 100 ways to Sunday to try to figure out why would that be that way where, somebody wants to watch and is so transfixed without to put together and these very beautiful pieces of woodworking and furniture. That's not my point. My point is, holy shit. They literally are in the hot, like 10, 12, 14 million subscribers that are all tuned into that. And there's got to be a reason. I haven't come up with the answer to that yet, but I would, I also sit here today and go, hey man, this would be just great to fuck off with Substack in the video. Just go straight to YouTube, at that point.
Here's the thing I'm going to tell you. It's all about SEO. So the amount of search engine optimization that you're allowed to do within Substack is about this much.
Yeah, I know.
What you're allowed to do at YouTube's level and at other streaming services levels like Twitch, that much. And so
right.
I just purely because I have my SEO on my YouTube account is pretty, I would say is pretty, I mean, it's not like perfect, but it's okay. Every short that I post from Substack goes into the 5, 10, 15, and 20,000 impressions. So I get 5, 10, 20, 25,000 views on those posts. And, anywhere from 40 to 100 likes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what it is. You're tailoring how people are going to find you. In Substack's case, they don't give you that kind of power. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, they don't want to because SEO, because if they did, it would increase traffic, and their infrastructure is already straining.
Right.
Tremendously straining under the weight of it. And so they're not, at this point, Substack is just, they're going to have to partner with somebody to make it work.
Well, that's why that's again, coming from corporate, it boggles the mind. It almost stops my mind into a nitrogen frozen trance because I sit there and think this shit is stuff we dealt with. Every corporate entity has dealt with it. If you go rent a CEO or a CIO that's dealt with this shit and bring them in for 6 months, they'll attack. They'll work the deals. They'll get it done. And nobody money will take you anywhere you want to go. If you got capital and you want to solve that problem, then you can solve that problem. Is my point.
Right.
So I don't want to sound like a dick, but I just have so little patience for any of this. We're going to take you up, the little guy up to 20% or whatever. And then, but we have 100 million in funding and you're guaranteed a shitty user experience when you use your streaming capabilities on this platform. So anyway, so that's great. What else do we want to talk about?
All right. So Mouth Anus is a bully.
Yeah. Okay.
Mouth Anus is a bully. So I have an unconfirmed source, actually unconfirmed 2 sources that Trump's going to sue ABC for $1.6 billion.
So we're going to go into what we call, what did Tim Miller call it? Like civil fascism, suit fascism, right? We're going to we're going to sue or maybe it was Sarah, I don't remember, but one of the two said this whole thing, and JVL was like, yeah, that we're going to just, every time somebody gins up a fuck you back to Trump, he's going to whine his way to the Supreme Court, get on the rocket docket to the Supreme Court, and have somebody rule in his favor or not, right?
Right.
And so once again, here we are at the same this is like another one of those where it's happened and it's happened and it's happened and it's another thing. It's because everything in Trump's mind is that he's got this first of all he's got his personal litigation team in the Department of Justice. Then he has his personal judicial team in the Supreme Court, and he's fucking blocking all these cases that actually have material decisions that affect many, many things by filling up that docket with all this petty shit for the Supreme Court to go rule on. And then, I don't have any confidence. Like, for example, the one thing that should just be lit on fire and thrown back out of the Supreme Court is the whole tariff situation. The basis of the law, all of that stuff is horse shit from the word go. And any justification that the Roberts Court gives it, where they say, oh, yeah, this makes sense. This would be irreparable harm to the United States if we did, if we change course. And so we're going to let Trump play games with this bullshit. That is absolutely horse manure, man. It is of the highest order, because it's Roberts capitulating to Trump once again, and it's going to be the split, right? Whatever the 7 blah split that it normally is between conservatives and liberals. And that one, it's kind of like, wow, this is how you do fascism with your own. You have a judicial system that rules in your favor. You've got a Congress that doesn't do shit. And then in the middle, you got a DOJ and an FBI that are, your lapdogs, basically. So
from the FBI perspective, I'm worried about that because as a trans woman,
yes,
I'm waiting to be branded as a terrorist.
Yes, or yes,
or worse,
right?
But but that's what this turns into. I mean, essentially what it boils down to is we're talking about a First Amendment issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
The freedom of the press is a First Amendment issue.
Oh yeah,
speech is a First Amendment issue. Donald Trump pushing the Department of Justice to enforce and prosecute people who are guilty of hate speech. There's not a world that I live in that I can't imagine that would go all the way up to SCOTUS, and SCOTUS would say, okay, you can start arresting people for hate speech.
Right, because hate speech has absolutely what? Oh, zero precedent in law. There is none, absolutely none. The definition of hate speech is not defined. That is the essence of it. It's just like Antifa. It is not. It's not fucking defined. I don't have a membership card in my wallet. I wrote a comment on it was kind of a long rant comment on one of Ellie Leonard's posts about, just how fucked up this was, and I signed it, Rick, not an Antifa member, and I put it in parentheses just to be sarcastically funny. But it's almost like you have to start declaring yourself now as, no, I'm not that. And I think about you all the time on this, because you and all the rest of the trans community who's dealing with it, because they're looking for a fucking reason just to pin it on your forehead.
That's right.
Tail on a donkey, man. Bang. You're it. And then what happens? Everybody fucking pays the price, because when does it stop? When, like I was talking, I was with my wife. We had a weird day today, just a long story, but we were at lunch, and I on the way home, I was talking to her. I said, what if I just started wearing a dress at home? Would you give a shit? And she said, look at me. She said, no, I wouldn't really. Because we were talking about Eddie Izzard and
I love
trans
Eddie
and all this other
Izzard.
stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we were doing this thing. I said, about his 1999 special, Dress to Kill. And I said, that guy fucking got on that stage and just nailed it.
Yep.
For the just the look, right? And I said, what if I decided to start dressing? My wife immediately said, well, you got to get rid of that gut. Like that's the first thing.
Well, we're gonna have to get you.
She is an Asian Chinese honest woman.
Oh, that's good though, right?
Right. You got the moobs and all that going on for me anyway. But the whole thing was like, yeah, okay. And then let's say I wandered out in my garage and somebody took a picture with the door open. Okay, well, I got pictures of JD Vance looking pretty goddamn close to a woman, if not even better. So does he get the Antifa sticker or not? Or does he get the terrorist sticker or not?
Here's the thing: if that goes up to SCOTUS, I forget which appellate judge it was that said this. That'll turn into the pornography definition. So you remember the pornography definition?
I don't, but I know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about obscenity laws. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what obscenity is, but I'll tell you when I see it.
Yeah.
And so that's what hate speech will become. Hate speech will be. I don't know how to tell you what hate speech is. I just know what it is when I see it.
Yeah, when you see it, the bullshit.
I hate to say this, but Charlie Kirk. Are you listening, Substack? I'm talking about Charlie Kirk now. Charlie Kirk was guilty of hate speech.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
even though they're trying to brand him that he was like this saint that was just like so accepting of so many people. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, I've literally, Wendy, just FYI, if it ever comes in handy, just in we share content and all that, but if it ever comes in handy, I have clipped together over 70 fucking comments individually made and of Kirk saying it out of his own fucking pie hole that is absolutely the most hateful, bigoted, racist, fascist horse shit you can possibly imagine. I'm in a really good mood today, by the way. I want everybody to know
I mean, I have an article in queue. Like, if you're going to do something like that, just tell me when you're going to do it. I'll publish mine on the same day, and I'll boost the shit out of yours. And then, so this is another thing that I'm going to tell you guys. So, we do this, like, cross-posting thing on the other organization. Yeah, I've rewritten that entirely. So all of you guys get basically your own page on the Beehive version of what that is, and it doesn't matter. You can write about whatever the fuck it is you want to write about all day, and my Hive readers are all going to experience it or whatever. But yeah, like, if you publish shit about Charlie Kirk said all of this, I have the same article. Just hit it all at once, and I literally am going to say, "Hey, Substack, fuck you, Charlie Kirk," because I'm waiting for those bitches to come to me and say, "You're violating terms of service." That's the other thing. Is
the TOS shit? Yeah.
Here's the thing. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, in the next couple of months, terms of service is going to change drastically.
I'm sorry, Craig. By the way. Yeah. So wow. Okay. Well. Shit, that's going to become. We'll see where that goes, right? And then the question I have, and let me throw it back to Lisa and you, Wendy, on this is okay. So just like the proliferation of the let's get organized as liberals groups that seems to be and seems to be going the other direction. In other words, there are more groups that are showing up that want to organize protests and do these things. Okay, that's one. And then two, you've got just the same thing with a number of platforms that we're now going to get ourselves spread across potentially. Now, this hasn't happened, but the question is, how do you reverse this? How do you reverse course so that instead of driving towards, how do we split the atom yet another way? How do we bring it back to here's the atom? It's uranium-235. I'm sorry, be techie, geeky, weird, but it's a big ass atom. Okay, we're a constellation of all these connected things, and one force holding us together instead of 5 billion things. So that's my question to you guys. What do you think about that?
Well, this whole thing too it's very disconcerting because how you keep saying that, like all of these platforms keep doing this over and over again. Once there is a boom where all of these content creators are getting together and then they start pulling this bullshit and then people start to scatter. You know what I mean? It's like, that's very, very unnerving to think about. But of course, like this, these big companies have a corporate structure, to it. So, it actually.
Keyboard, Wendy, watch out.
Oh, the keyboard.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just that really sucks because that is true. Because right now, like, we're really gaining steam here, and what a coincidence. And
Right.
that's why I
And
kept saying at some point, if there is going to have to be some sort of an independent server or an independent, like something that is not from a big conglomerate or big company that owns it, in order to be able to do something. And I'm probably thinking way ahead. Like, I don't even know when something like this could even
no,
be possible.
I follow you. I mean, it's a thing where I don't know. Wendy, what were you going to say, if anything, about the the splitting, you have the protest channel on Signal. You've got that to kind of herd the cats, so to speak.
So here's the thing: organizing a community. It's easy to organize a community when you have multiple channels in which you use to organize that community, because once you establish those channels to organize the community, wherever those endpoints end up going shouldn't make a difference.
Well, what about okay, I followed you up to the point where the I mean, this is shit. Like, if you've ever read Manker Olson, it's the same idea as in collective unionizing and labor, right? You get too many, you get the more people that you have. It was the Manker's paradox, which is the larger your group, the inevitability of it. And he studied this in the 60s through the 80s. The inevitability is that you will always end up with the less likelihood of achieving a goal, right? So if you have a group of 10 people, much higher chance of achieving goal. 100,000 people, much lower. The only way around it is to create a cellular structure, kind of like what you're talking about, where you've got, hey, I've got these 10 people over here all aligned in this interest. I got 10 people here, but the groups stay small and cellular in nature, right? And then they grow. And then over top of that, there's that layer. But that's all theory. That's never been proven. And that's the problem with Olson's work.
Rick, I'm gonna have to tell you, no, that's already been seen.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
that already exists in the paradigm of what you see with Midas, what you see with
Yeah,
and what you see with the Wonka. In Midas's case, they actually have broadened that out at a network. So the
yeah,
Midas,
they have a network.
yeah,
Yes.
so that network is entirely like this platform, that platform, that
Yes.
platform, that platform, that platform, that
They
platform,
do.
and then much in the same way that I am trying to do, unify that platform into one endpoint, whatever that endpoint is.
Okay.
And then here's the thing: homogenize it so that it doesn't matter where the endpoint is.
Yeah, I get
You're
it.
still reporting the same data
To the same
unilaterally,
people. Yeah.
across. So, like, I'll tell you right out of the gate, when I move my long form content, I'm going to take all the paid features off of my Substack, and all 5,000 of my subs are going to go free, and all of that content is going to be open and free.
Right.
And then all of the paid content that I had will go into my long form destination, and then people who want to support the publication can support the publication from that point.
Yeah,
And I'm assured that where my content lives is in a space that will not be, because that's the issue I have with Substack. Substack and the contagion of where Substack contagions that data is inside the US.
yeah, that's true.
Right.
And
That's a subpoena away, and then
yeah,
those are the things that I'm worried about, or I've been thinking about seriously.
Yeah. So
Because
I've already been assured that my Hive content is living on a non-US space.
okay.
And so I I I'm okay with that. I mean, for the same reason that anybody signs up for a Proton account, because all of Proton shit is stored in Switzerland. Guess
Right.
what? If the government wants my emails, they're going to have to get a subpoena from Switzerland. You know how that's going to work?
Good luck with
Which
that.
one's going to go fuck off?
Yeah, that'll be in the next ice age, so it won't happen.
And so, like Sarah, Discord, that's not even secure either. Discord's not secure. Slack's
Oh God, yeah. Every time I put Discord on my Mac, I get a goddamn virus, so I don't even touch it. So yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. It makes sense. I'm struggling with the network unification theory, and I'll be really let me be blunt back about something you said, and I please want one thing. We're talking about it. We're not talking about me versus you. It's not. This is about an independent idea in the middle of us, right? So my concern is the variation you get out of the Midas network, right? So there isn't a for example, there is no dispatch mechanism to route news leads on anything throughout that Midas Touch network because, and when you think about it, that's how mainstream media really actually lives, breathes, and dies right now. If we could do it better on the Midas Touch network than they do in like ABC, CNN, Fox, especially Fox News, if you had something when the news drops that Trump is going to do X, right? Or just said the most batshit crazy thing. There is no way in the Midas Touch network to go assign that thing to or put it out there on the market to say who wants to go fucking knock on the doors, talk to the people, do whatever to give them that assignment so they go, yes, that's mine and I get paid for it, and and so it's that piece, it's the outbound dispatching that's always created a problem.
That's actually not all that. That's not that problematic.
Okay, well, I see
it
it as
really is.
problematic.
Here's the thing. Here's why you can't do that in Substack. You can't do that in Substack because there's not an external API. Virtually every other source, Blue Sky, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, Meta.
But I'm going down the road of not. This isn't a tech bound conversation. I understand where you're coming from, but what I was trying to say is it's if Midas Touch actually wanted to do it, they'd figure out a fucking way to do it. It needs a dispatch mechanism. It doesn't have it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but purely from a technical perspective,
yeah,
yes, that's possible, and yes, I've already written a shit ton of code to do it. Because that's the thing that I was worried about was if I go to another platform, how am I going to replicate all of my content across all of the platforms to inform all of the people who follow me on those platforms that this is happening? And so, to a larger extent, I think the Mysalis brothers have actually done it, but I also think that they have a certain amount of, and I hate using this term, mechanical Turk going on.
Yeah.
You understand what mechanical Turk is?
No, well, go ahead and explain it because
so mechanical Turk is an example. So when Ron Flipowski drops something on Midas, his Blue Sky account updates, his Threads account updates, his Twitter account updates, yada 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 yada. Now, for the services that have external APIs that you can use to do that with, it works. I've written enough Python to actually to actually do that. But here's the problem. In Substack's case, you can't because the API they have doesn't allow the technicality to do that. So what does that mean? Mechanical Turk. That means that Ron Flipowski is having to manually post to Substack and then hit his automations for everything else.
Yeah.
Which expenditures a huge amount of energy. So here's how you see that. You see his Substack posts go up. I guarantee you, and I've timed this, 2 to 3 minutes later, it'll hit everywhere else within 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Because of that delivery subset. So now, like I said, writing 10,000 lines of Python on a server where I say, here's the URL, here's the text, hit all of the platforms, and then I have to go and hit manually all the other platforms, however many those are. Substack is one of them. I've been doing that for a year.
Yeah,
all of my socials get updated with my shit in 4 minutes. Yeah. I still have to manually post shit on Substack.
I get it. I got it. And I think you're right on the technical level there. I just I got to think about the other side of it. So meaning the business process, right, should always be the guiding light, right, or the North Star. And in this case, what we got is what we got, and it's not necessarily working for all the cases that we needed to. So did we have
and I think a larger problem is things are going to be made more difficult to make that likely.
Yeah. Well, and that's gonna become the snake eat. That's gonna be the Ouroboros, right? It's gonna be the snake eating its own tail, and that'll create a problem, and infinite recursion problem, and that's it. Sound effects free of charge. So, anyway, were we going to talk about anything else tonight? Just
well, I mean, I was going to talk about Kimmel or whatever, but I was really just sort of very upset by the whole, the ice thing today. I couldn't process that.
Catch me up because I've been on the road all freaking day.
Okay, right. So 2 ICE detainees were killed at a detention center
in Dallas, right? Was it
in Dallas?
Yeah.
Well, there was a shitload more shot, though, right? I mean, those were just the fatalities.
And the person committing the crime was billed as an anti-ICE person, and so it's that happened.
Oh wait, so that now we're gonna fucking peg another liberal. Excuse me.
By the way, I want to point out that, oh my God, how much has Tyler Robinson's narrative died since he's not trans and he's not left wing and
Well, one thing that really we talked about it, but one thing that really bothered me that I saw yesterday was Tim Miller was on a Piers Morgan, and not to I like Tim Miller. He was on the panel. I know. He was on this panel, and it was Carrie Lake was on there too, and they just keep perpetuating this narrative about the left-wing ideology, because obviously all of those things are anti-fascist. What he wrote in I mean, it's just clear, like what he wrote on the bullets and all of this crap. And Tim Miller didn't rebut not one thing, because it almost felt like he was being apologetic. And the left does this a lot. David Pakman was doing this a lot. However, I do agree with them. It's not confirmed. The Groyper thing is not confirmed. Neither is the left-wing thing. Although,
but who controls that confirmation, right, Lisa? Think about that. It's fucking the FBI. What the fuck are they doing?
Okay? Exactly. Now that's one thing. But then if you want, even if you're speaking that we don't know confirmation, right? Well, just as much as Carrie Lake keeps on insisting that it's the left wing, Tim Miller could just as easily say there's a lot of evidence pointing toward these Groyper people and Nick Fuentes and all of this stuff. Except he was like, "Mom," everybody's.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I was screaming at the TV. I'm like, "Dude, what is going on here?"
What my take was on the other side when he was talking with Sarah and JBL, right? So he was like, in the title of the podcast was Tim Miller loses the will to live during Piers Morgan or something like that, and it's I believe it, because he was just getting his ass it was 5-1.
I can't imagine, because you're on this panel, obviously, and you got these oh my God, these people are just awful, bad faith actors. I mean, it's just disgusting, and I can't even imagine.
And he's boxed in.
He's boxed in.
He can't go too far out of the coloring lines, right? It's got to be within this parameter. It's why that motherfucker got fired from CNN, because they asked him the wrong question. Was that CNN or MSNBC? I'm sorry. Either one. Whatever. The dude was making a comment about something that he was asked to make a comment about on how do you take this particular thing. And it was about Kirk. And he said something, and it was really benign in my mind. I watched it. I wish I could give you more details on who it was and where it was, but the dude ended up, I think it was MSNBC now. The fucking exec VP hands out this apology letter. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Of course.
Because seriously, this guy who's not even one of those you do not bring this guy on to give that answer to that question. He's the wrong dude for it. And yet you're asking him the question on live TV to do something. So he says something and pulls it out of his ass and then gets fired for it. And I'm like, wow, that is, if you ever thought MSNBC was on our side as the liberals,
that's corporate owned media. Yeah.
That's like the double-ended resolution to recognize Charlie Kirk, and so five fucking Democrats who said yes.
Yep.
I lost my shit on that.
But when you read the verbiage, it was like you either if you say yes, that means you're supporting that he shouldn't have been killed.
Yeah.
But if you say no, you're saying that he should have or whatever.
Yeah.
It really fucks
Ridiculous.
you into a corner with the language. That's a bunch of lawyers in Congress for you,
Yep.
though, right?
Yep.
You know,
Mhm.
You know, yeah. I mean, do you believe the Democrats are on the side of are on the side of progressives, especially over the Kirk issue? And people are so afraid of retribution.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
It's
the
like they're
retribution fear is fucking huge now.
they're like self-censoring. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not going to say anything bad because I could get killed.
Yeah, and and it was so graphic and so violent and so visible that all three of those things are stuck in. It's burned. I can replay Charlie Kirk's assassination in my head with
I know.
by the via of a blink. I can just think it, and
I
it's
know.
there,
Yep.
and it will be there for a long time because it's essentially induced trauma. You're not. That is not what you are normally supposed to
No.
see. And
Terrible.
you can sit and watch a movie like Cocaine Bear, and it's incredibly gory and violent, right? And you know what I'm talking about, right? If you've seen this
I
fucking
love that
movie,
movie.
so do I.
I love Cocaine Bear. I do
Yeah,
love that movie.
but you compare the gore in that to the Charlie Kirk thing, and Cocaine Bear went hands fucking down. They more gore, more oh my god, but yet it's not real, and your
It's not
brain knows
real.
that. And the
That's it.
real one is right there. You just click, And so I'm up to my gills right at the moment with of self censoring because it's like no,
Yeah.
because
I
any
know.
more of this
Yep.
and we're going to all be walking around because if we listen to Trump, right, he's got his big this out and he's going to do civil suits on everybody until we're all dead. And it's like, well, okay, fine. What else is there? And the truth be told, I said it on our show, the Lisa Me show, the other night. It's like there's $74 fucking trillion sitting in the bottom 90% of Americans' pocketbooks in cash. The problem is a lot of it's tied up in debt and a lot
Yep.
of it isn't directly manageable. In other words, it's offset by debt. So you have this much cash, but you also have this much in credit card debt or consumer debt. And so if we could mobilize that 74 trillion fucking dollars, even a fraction of it, to put pressure on these companies like what happened with Disney
Mhm.
when Kimmel happened, 6 billion out of fucking 74 trillion is that big. I mean, my hands are
Yep.
that's a grain of sand small. And it's like, yeah, we could do that. We could pull that off. We could vote with money and make shit happen a lot faster. And you could put Trump back in his place real quick by having just mobilization of that money to be able to say a tiny fraction of it, guys. That's all we need to move the markets. But don't say you're moving the markets. Just say you're rewarding the people who deserve to be rewarded, and you're pulling funds from the places that do not deserve stock value in their funds because they're dipshits and they support. You take 20 billion out of Meta in their bottom line at just one day. Fuck, they're
Mhm.
screwed.
Mhm.
Their capital will go right out the window because nobody will loan them money. Be like, oh, you're too vulnerable.
That's the thing that makes me believe that we finally reached extinction phase.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Do you understand the concept of extinction phase politics?
Uh, no, maybe not. I don't.
Okay, so that's the idea that basically the dial has gone so far right that
Is
extinction
this?
phase happens, and that's the public is basically going to turn on the political machine.
Yeah.
We're so close to absolute civil unrest
Oh, yeah.
that
I've been
everything that's
waiting for it.
happening now. So Trump threatening to sue ABC, and Trump threatening to do this, and Trump threatening to do that, and that's all extinction phase politics,
Okay.
which says
Yeah.
I have to do this now because if I don't, when they rebel against
Yep.
me, it'll all fall apart.
Yeah.
But here's the
Well.
problem. If you're already that desperate, philosophically, you're already that desperate, you're fucking up. And you're
Yeah.
not going to be able to do it anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
I hate to say this, but that's what happened in the Carter era. In the Carter era, stagflation got so high and
yeah.
unemployment got so high, and Carter kept saying, we'll fix it, we'll fix it, we'll fix it,
Mhm.
we'll fix it, we'll fix it. And then
But
suddenly, when he and Reagan went toe to toe with each other, Reagan won by a complete landslide.
Right.
It wasn't even Carter's doing.
Yeah, and
it's like that's the thing that's like, oh my God.
And in Carter's case, you're right. It wasn't that Carter had done it himself. It was that Carter didn't know who to hire for his cabinet,
Right.
and his people fucked it all up.
Right.
But that's what we're talking about. And so, like when Ted Cruz says you can't prosecute somebody for free speech, when Ted Cruz says that,
really.
you know,
like, okay,
now we're in the fuck off.
Right.
No, now we're in the shit. And so, like, when that happens, and so I hate to say this, but from a philosophical perspective, it's when opposites turn towards each other and meet in the middle, that's when the solution happens. And the solution invariably means whoever is the cause is the person that's going to go down.
Exactly. That's what I've been waiting for years, but it's
like, I really think that we've gotten closer to, like, we're on like the 2-second mark of the doomsday clock. It's the Donald Trump falling apart clock. On top of the fact that, yes, it's very clear he's unhealthy and he's unwell. And I mean, the UN performance itself was just,
oh God,
you're all going to hell. Okay.
Yeah, I ranted about that already tonight, but that was 25th Amendment shit right there. I mean, you show that.
You're going to hell. Okay.
Yeah.
Wild.
Because of your fucking windmills off the north coast of
Scotland. I don't like windmills and solar panels because of the way they look.
Yeah. So he's full of shit and all that, but that at the end of the day, he's got to get the fuck vacated. And then what I think is already set up, and this is the problem with it, right? You take, I'm going to combine a couple thoughts. One is the theme from Kirk and Tyler Robinson, right? And the Groiper, or whatever name you want to fight, the Joker is what I call it. I don't use Groiper. I call it the Joker scenario, which is burn it all fucking down, chaos, right?
Yeah.
Take that one, you put it over here with J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel, and you put all three together, and maybe there's a fourth or fifth actor in there I've missed, of course. But at the end of the day, the burn it down is in progress. We've shed all the expertise in the mid tiers of the military to have any fucking idea what to do when somebody lights a bomb and aims it at us. And then we've lost the intelligence community, and then we've lost the FBI. So we have no internal ability to respond to a shit ton of military or external military and or internal domestic threats. And then you take the chaos machine and the chaos monkey that's running full steam ahead, burn it all down. This is the dark MAGA that fucking what's his name, Musk wants. And and so we're ended up in this scenario that it's like, well, nobody seems to see, I drive down the road and I listen to NPR sometimes. I'll turn it on for about a minute, and that's all I can take anymore because they're so calm and they have such a peaceful voice. We're talking about somebody's fucking book that I could give a shit about. And it's like, do you realize it's on fire?
Yeah.
You just don't know it yet because the houses 231 down are burning, but yours isn't burning, and you'd never go outside and you never look around. That's what it feels like right now, honestly.
And then when it does start burning, when
shit.
people finally realize it, oh man, when it finally touches the people that are not paying attention.
And it's like we're pissing in the wind the wrong way. I don't know how else to describe it, because it's like people do not listen until, oh shit, I don't have a job. I had a friend, honest to God, this week, it was last week, I was at a doctor appointment with my wife, and I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I get this text, 3 words, I am fired. And I'm like, fuck, this guy's been at this job for 10, 15 years, and just out of the blue, man, bang, they just shot him right there, and proverbially, and they, and I asked why, and it's like, no reason given, just, goodbye, and no money, no nothing.
Wow.
It's all part of the plan.
It is part of the plan.
It's all part of the plan.
I called him right about 3 seconds after I got that message. I said, "What the fuck?" And he was just as dumbfounded by it as anybody would be. And I don't want to. I do not have his permission to divulge stuff, so I'm not going to. But you get the gist. It's like this is happening, and now he's I know for a fact in the job search rebound, I mean, you have to go through that initial shock and depression.
Yeah.
He's got about a month worth of life in him before, shit really, really turns ugly. And he's, scrambling. He wants to find something, anything. And
Yeah.
what's happening is dial tone all the way. It's shit going in, nothing coming out. And you've lived that. You've lived it, Wendy. I know you have.
I've literally been out of the game since March.
Yeah.
And literally, and by the way, that's a really beautiful story. But basically, like, I couldn't get an interview for anything. Get this, I've interviewed 4 times with AI bots.
Yeah,
On
I
the
believe it.
phone, by the way, on the phone, by the
Wow,
way.
that's incredible.
Yeah, AI bots. So, like, I was at death throes, and so when it finally came down to it, the most recent interview I had, it was a real girl, and I talked to her, and she was like, so she, like, we got through the interview. She's like, "Yeah, I want to interview for a couple of our roles or whatever." I was like, "Okay." And she asked me, she's like, "By the way, I have a question." I said, "Okay." So she says, "I noticed that your email address is Colonel Girl at whatever, whatever." I said, "Yes." And she said, "And I noticed that your chosen name is Wen." And I said, "Yes." And she said, and here's what was funny. Like, I didn't wear my hair that day. I didn't do my makeup. I didn't shave for like 3 days because I'm deathly afraid to do an interview with um, somebody that could hire me and see me as a trans person and say, "Fuck you." We don't,
Right.
because that had happened. I mean, the minute I identify as a trans person, that happened 4 months ago, where I did an interview and I was like, "Oh, I'm trans." And they were like, "Okay, bye," click.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, I was like, "Yes." And so she said, "Is your name Wendy?" And I said, "Yes, yes, it is." How did you know?" And she said, "Well, because you were wearing the shirt that said, 'Keep calm and let Wendy handle it.' And when you stood up in the interview, I saw it and I went, okay, well, yes, I'm a trans person. Full transparency. I understand if that's not cool or whatever." And she literally looked at me. She says, "Wendy, so am I." And so then she says,
Wow.
I'm like, "Oh, fuck." And she says, "Okay, well, here's what I want you to do." And I said, "What?" And she said, "I know how hard it's been for you in America." And that's when she told me that the company's based in Canada.
Mm.
And she said, "Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set you up for 6 interviews. I want you to interview for these 2 that are in your space, but then I want you to interview for these other 4. Now, I'm just going to tell you, these other 4 pay like 85, 92. They're out of your price range, but I would want you to take them anyway." And
Yeah.
I literally looked at her and I was like, why would you do this?" And she says, "Because you guys in America are getting treated like shit." And
Mm.
I'm thinking, well, so here's what happened. Like, I interviewed for all 6 of the roles, and the one that I wanted, which was the security, info
Mm.
security role or whatever that I wanted, like, I interviewed with the person who'd be my counterpart, and I got halfway through that interview, and she said, "By the way, I was told that I'm not going to call you Win. I'm going to call you Wendy." And I said, "Oh, why?" And she said, "Oh, because I am too." And I went,
Wow. That's a
um, "Okay." And she said, "I'm not going to ask you any other technical questions, because for the next half hour, I just want to hear your story. I just want to hear you tell stories." And I went, "Oh, okay," or whatever. And so then, yeah, but I mean, here was the thing, but they offered me slightly below market. I took it anyway. Here's
mhm.
the deal: 90 days into my employment, they will make the Canadian version of the H-1B happen, and they'll move me to Canada
Wow.
without even batting an eye.
That's pretty amazing. So that's
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but that's the thing. That's what's happening now. Is Yes, things have gotten so bad that somebody that gets fired now, somebody that loses their job now, they're only going to have 1, 2, maybe 3 months to hold their shit together, and then get fucked.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing where Rick and I have been talking about, or we mentioned it at some point, where there's 2 different people are living in 2 different realities right now.
Mhm.
But there is only one set of real facts. There's only the truth.
Right.
So right now, I was just watching a clip right before we went on earlier with Trump sitting here waxing poetic about how he fixed inflation and grocery prices are coming down and all this stuff, like literally believing this. Yeah, it's incredible to me. And I'm like, I cannot believe that his supporters, because they haven't really been touched yet. I mean, things are more expensive, but people are still able to, live their lives. And I mean, I just don't understand this cognitive dissonance, like how they can even possibly believe.
And it is you're absolutely right. And I look at it now and I'm like, it's the economic pain. I mean,
Yeah.
When do you feel it? I felt it. I know Lisa, and I was reading Ellie Leonard's take. She did a beautiful article if
Yes.
you check it out.
I
And
saw
it's
that
about
one.
what life is like, right? And she talked about credit cards and how,
Yep.
to get from Wednesday to Friday now is an exercise and, necessity of this credit card. And because, I'm sorry, Wednesday before payday to Friday of payday is an absolute necessity to use it because shit, things are getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And I go to the grocery store for our family and I look at the prices on everything every week that I buy, and they're going to fuck up. Chicken, for fuck's sake, goes up, is off the roof. It was cheaper for me to go buy a fucking thing of fried chicken today for $9.99 than it was to get 3 chicken breasts for $12. And these aren't like, I don't know what you call them. This was the cheaper chicken, not the expensive, where they feed them whatever in a free range
Oh,
stuff.
they are, free range organic.
This is the plain fucking store chicken, and it's like,
oh my God,
oh wow, 3 breasts for that much, $12, and shit. I guess we're having fried chicken tonight.
Oh, I went to the grocery store fucking a week and a half, 2 weeks ago to cook chili, and when I cook chili, I'm like, I want it to be a little greasy, so I buy ground chuck, right? And
right,
you expect ground chuck to be cheaper, right? 3 pounds of ground chuck ground beef, Publix brand, $38.
Holy crap!
It's crazy.
$38.
So I don't know, but bringing it back, I don't know who is not feeling the pinch right now. I know people in the West Coast.
Farmers.
I know farmers in the Midwest. There are a couple of farmers that I talk to who are readers. And I've had a farmer tell me, look, I literally am about to fall. My farm's going to fall completely apart because I can't, I relied on European export and I relied on Chinese export and I relied on this export. And
even USAID.
And I can't sell it, so I'm going to get fucked.
Yeah.
Even the subsidies people got from USAID, now that they ended up killing that because they provided a lot of that food.
Yeah. And that has been going on, by the way, just as a funny side note. My dad was in his day, many, 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 many moons ago. He was a high school principal for a period of time. And at the end of the school year, every fucking summer, for about 5 summers in a row, he would come home on the last day of school and he'd open up the trunk of this, gigantic Delta 88 Oldsmobile, fucking huge thing. Remember, it didn't have a miles per gallon. It was gallons per mile. It was like flip. And so he pop open the trunk, and we had to haul in the stash of food and put it in the basement. It was all government food. It was cheese, fucking raisins, and you know what? I found out. I learned from him that the cooks put the fucking raisins in the brownies and in sometimes the ground beef to just get rid of it because they had so much. And this was the leftover that they couldn't figure out how to stuff into other food. So we would eat it all summer long, and it was like this is the most disgusting shit in the world to ever have to consume. But it's all right. We were a big family with a tight income coming in, so it was like, yeah, okay, fine, we'll eat it, no problem. It beats nothing. It beats eating, like Eddie Murphy said once. It's like he was talking about poverty. He open his grandmother's like, open your mouth. You're gonna eat an air biscuit.
That's right.
So. So yeah, shit. We were glad to have the cheese anyway. So that's why. Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know where I was going with that thought, but that's it. That's all I got.
No, I agree with you. God, we're like way over the top of the hours.
Oh wow. Oh
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
All right.
Got away from it. I hope everybody was satisfied.
Yes, I thought this was great. I love
Yep.
doing these.
Ralph
Yeah.
Crew, that was I had the banana milk too, by the way. That I did, yes. So for that comment, I just want to let you know.
You have what?
Banana
Banana
milk.
milk.
Banana pudding came in a can, big ass gallon can, and then powdered milk, and you combine
Oh.
it. Yeah, it works. It really does. It's fine.
Oh,
It's a
that's
lot of
interesting.
calories. It's a shit ton of calories for a
I
teenager.
bet.
That's all that matters, right?
Right.
Forget whether it's carbs, protein. Fuck that. It's just
I mean, raw milk.
no, God, no. That's too associated with RFK. For fuck's sake.
Yes.
They sell that at a grocery store here, by the way. Is that goddamn raw
Look,
milk
I just,
right on there?
for a closing thought, by the way, I just want to say, you do understand why the Tylenol thing is bullshit, right?
I don't. I've seen it go
It's so
by, Wendy.
dangerous.
I mean, you have
Like, here's why it's bullshit. Okay, autism was identified in 1911. Tylenol hit the shelves in 1955.
yeah. Well, that's one. There you go.
And this is so dangerous too. Like, where he was sitting here talking about, like, don't take Tylenol. Like, he was screaming at the pregnant ladies. And I'm like, do you realize that if a pregnant mother gets a fever, that's very dangerous for the baby? It cause birth defects. Like, that's why they give them Tylenol, like, right away to reduce the fever. Like, what?
Yes.
And he's like, well, maybe you'll have a little bit of pain, but it's worth it to, keep off of Tylenol. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
It's a really things have just gone upside down, and we
Oh,
haven't
it's
even.
insane.
So, hey, well, guys, I'm gonna have to
Yes.
go. I know we
Yeah,
all are.
same.
Yeah. This was great.
Yeah,
Have a
this was
great day.
awesome.
Yep. Thanks, guys. See
All
ya.
right. See you guys later.
Yep. Don't have too much fun. Wow. Okay. Well, great night. Thank you, everybody. Per the usual, if you're a new subscriber, please subscribe. Although, as indicated earlier in the live, we're going to be moving platforms, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to do live sessions on Substack. Those are going to continue, and that we're going to continue to produce content hybridly between all platforms. That's all going to get worked out. I've written a bunch of code for it, so it'll just work. Don't worry. But with that, I will tell all of you, get into a safe space, get there and stay there. I can't do this without you guys. We can't do this without each other. Let's keep meeting every night so that we can talk through all of these things and make ourselves feel more safe, more secure, and more happy. Tomorrow at 1:00, there's the trauma talk with Brandon and Miranda and I'm actually working on the subject for that tomorrow. So we'll have trauma talk tomorrow at 1, and then we'll meet again at 8:30 for the regular evening live. And so with that, I will tell all of you, be safe out there, be good, um, do good things. I love you all, and good night.